Hi, guys. Okay, so tonight we are going to be hearing from some of our Jewel leaders, just talking about where we used to be, a little bit about our journey, some of the peaks, some of the valleys that we've been in, and why it does not matter where you're from, what you do for a living, what you look like, whatever it may be. You can be successful at this. And we just want to share a little bit about our story. So I'm going to start off. So I started 7 years ago, almost to the day. And I remember my really good friend started and she started sharing, and I was like the same person that we all that we pretty much probably come in contact with, right? They're a little bit skeptical. They really don't know a lot about network marketing. I didn't know anything about. I literally had really never heard of network marketing. I thought it was a pyramid scheme. Like I was like, no, girl, do not bring your snake oil around me. Like truly, I was like, that's cute, but I'm not going to do it. And I just remember continuing watching her, and she was very. And here's the thing: when we think that we are being annoying or we're being whatever because we believe in someone, let me just say, if she did not continue to be persistent with me, I would never be here right now. If she didn't continue to say, Andrea, I know these products would work for you. I know these products would work for you. I know you would be good at the business. I know, like, I know, I know. I never once got annoyed with her. I never once got mad at her. And those thoughts never came out like in my head because she's giving me compliments, but I just wasn't ready at the time. But you know what was really cool is she never gave up on me. She never said, "Oh, she doesn't want it." If she wanted it by now, then she would have done X or she would have done this. And it's like, no, I just needed poured into a little bit more because I was really rough around the edges before I came into Plexus. Plexus has totally softened me up. It has totally made me a completely different person. I was a very negative, one track mind type person before I came into Plexus. And I was just like, it is what it is. Like, I don't care, kind of just hateful all around, truly. And when I started to take the products, I started to see changes and all of that good stuff. I had bloating, constipation, hormonal issues, sugar cravings, all of those things. And I remember drinking my pink drink. We had just moved up here to Greenville, and it was like, I was like getting ready to go do a yoga class. I call her and I'm like, oh my gosh, this pink drink tastes so good, girl. What? Okay. Like, tell me what is in it. Like, I want to make sure that I have this like on repeat. I'm feeling good. And so my testimony was built on her belief, if that makes sense. Because a lot of the times people say, I don't have a testimony right now. I can't share or whatever it may be. But she did such a good job with sharing other people's testimonies with me and sharing her testimony with me that I was like, I know people that could already use this, right? Like on day 3. But of course, I cared about what all the people on my Facebook thought of me. I cared so freaking much. I cared so much about what every single person on my Facebook thought of me. People I hadn't talked to in 10 years, people I hadn't talked to in 5 years, people that would not pick up the phone if I was lying dead on the road. They'd probably be like, oh, sorry, can't, no. I cared what, Marianne was thinking about me, but I hadn't talked to Marianne in 10 years, but like, I was just nervous. So she's like, you need to post. And I was like, all right. I'm going to post. Here we go. I'm going to post. Guys, I got to go find my first post. I should have freaking did a PowerPoint and brought you my first post. It was like this long. You can't even see it on the screen because it was really long, like really long. It was like, hi, I'm Andrea. And it was just like, I was like, I got to be a doctor. Like, if I'm going to sell these supplements, like I need to be professional and I need to go and find all these, like, I spent like big words. I spent like probably 3 hours on my post. Big fat goose egg. No one liked it. My mom probably liked it. Amelia probably liked it.
I liked it.
And I like hit the post button. I ran away. I was like, bye. Nope. Like sweaty palms and all. Well, then I get a message from one of my best friends. She's like, okay, what are you doing? And I was like, what do you mean? What am I doing? Like, I don't know. I was like sweating. I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. But I remember putting my sponsor in a 3-way, all these things. So it just escalated from there. So I want to tell you, the reason why I'm telling you all these steps is because I was doing the same thing 7 years ago that I'm training you guys on to do right now because it works. The 3-way messages, the posting, the being scared and still showing up, it all still works, right? And so I remember we went Fast Start Gold. Still had no idea. Yeah, still had no idea what it was. No idea. But I remember I got $1,000 and I was like, holy cow. We were eating at a restaurant and I looked at Brooks. I was like, I just got $1,000. I was like, for what? What did I do? Like, what did we do? What did I do? She like ran with it. And I'm over here. They're like, Andrea, you have to get your third person or you are not going to get this bonus. And I was like, I don't care. Like, whatever. And I was like, this isn't real money anyways. Like, there's no way I'm going to be making $1,000 by going fast. Like, it was Fast Start Gold. Like, no,
It was $12.50.
yeah. And so anyway, so we get that paycheck and I'm just like, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, okay, I have $4,000 to my name. I was a bartender before. I always knew I didn't want to be in a desk job. But funny thing is I ended up being a paralegal for my husband for a little while when we moved up here. Hated it. Did not like it. I was like so antsy behind a desk. I was like, this is not the life for me. Like I did not love it. I was like, I knew that I like needed to be out talking to the people and like, I was like, I want to do something for me, like that's mine, And so I remember getting pregnant with Wes and I never wanted to be a stay-at-home mom ever. I always thought of myself like living in a big city, like doing the whole city thing, like never having kids, like the whole thing. Well, here I am in small town town in South Carolina, married, 3 kids, love the life I live because I get to design the life that I live right now. We get to travel wherever we want to go. We get to not stress about just all the things that comes with life. Of course, there's stressors, but like money stressors. Growing up, she was a single mom forever since I was 6 months old. And so like I always remember us struggling. I always remember her working. I always remember being like, no, like it's just how it is, right? Like always remember being with my grandparents, dropping off in the mornings, being picked up. And I just, yeah. And I just remember like, I'm like, even though she did the best she could, I wanted something different for my family. I didn't want to have the financial stressors. I didn't want to have to drop my kids off at a daycare because I had to go to work. And so I knew when Wes came, that's when I really buckled down and got serious. I had already, fast forward, hit senior Ruby, and I had like a come to Jesus with myself because when I hit senior Ruby, I let my whole entire business just go. I don't know what happened, probably imposter syndrome. I was like, why am I here? I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be making this money. Like I'm not good enough to be here. And I just took a huge step back for no reason because I didn't believe in myself. I did not believe that I had what it took to be in the ring with the emeralds, the sapphires, the diamonds, because that was my next rank. I literally talked myself out of greatness. And so for a year, it is the toughest, I will tell you guys, it is the toughest thing to take a step back and try to come back in. It's the hardest thing. You have to really have your why set in stone. And so, and your why should be ever evolving. And so when I was pregnant with West, I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to stay home, but I want to make sure I have that option, right? Like I want to make sure that I have that option. I don't want to have to worry about where he's going to be and me coming back to work either for my husband or someone else. Like, I don't want someone to tell me that I have to be back at work in 8 weeks, like, or I have to figure out something because my child's sick, or I have to take a day that I don't get paid because my kid's sick or penalized. I don't work well with authority. And I wanted to be the authority of my life. Right. And so I was like, this could be something that I can do. Like this can be the outlet. Like this could really be something where I can make enough money to where I could stay home, to where it would also support our family and all the bills, the groceries and all that stuff. And for a while, that was what it did. Plexus was just it was our grocery, my gas, and all of that. And so when Wes was born, he was 9 months old. I went Emerald, and it was so crazy. I mean, I honestly never in a million years dreamed that I could do that. And it wasn't just me, it was my team. And I never saw myself as a leader, right? Like I never saw myself as a leader. And I want to tell you guys this. If you're scared to really step into the leadership role because you think you don't know how to lead, you're never going to know how to lead unless you just step into it. You're never going to know what to do unless you just put your foot in. You do not have to read all of these books. You do not have to go to all of these trainings to become a leader. A leader is open to learning. A leader steps in when things get hard. You don't have to be at a certain rank to be a leader, you guys. Okay. And I say that because when I went Emerald, my sponsor decided to take a step back. And that's when I was like, okay, like I can either continue to push forward. And I had in the 6 months after post hitting Emerald, I had fallen all the way back to 600 points. So from 1,500 to 600 points, I had fallen back because guess what? I didn't grow my leadership lid, right? You have to be learning and growing and applying and getting down in like the swamp with your team. And so I had totally just capped my leadership lid. I stopped listening to personal growth videos, podcasts. I stopped doing my IPA. I stopped connecting with my leaders. I started doing all of that because I let life get in the way. And then here I am, 600 points. My sponsor decides to take a step back. And I'm like, what do? I can either quit, which that's not me. I'm not quitting. I had Brianna, I had Heather with me. Like these girls, here's the thing. Let me tell you guys, when you guys decide, and I'm not saying you guys in general, but I think about myself, when I decide not to show up, when I decide not to believe in myself, when I decide not to do my IPA, when I decide not to show up in the team chats, on the team calls, guess who I'm hurting? Brianna, Heather. These girls believe in me. They started with me. Like, if I am not showing up, I'm doing them a disservice. I'm doing you guys a disservice, right? Like they are bought in to this team because of you, because you are the leader, right? Whether you like that title or not, I don't even care. I don't even really like that title, leader, blah. You're the person that they look up to. They started Plexus because of you, and you owe that to them. To be all the way in, through the bad, through the good, through the ugly. Guys, you owe it to them and yourself to be all the way in. Life is not going to stop for you to get your business back in order. Your business is not going to stop for you to get your life back in order. You have to learn how to make those two things work together, and you have to separate life and you have to separate business. And that was something that I had to learn. And when I got very clear on where I wanted to go after I decided, guess what? This is actually a really great thing that she stepped back, because it really gave me a way to step up and become more into that leadership role, something I've never done. I created our system that we use today. I had no idea what a system was. We had never had a system. I created that. I was scared to death because I was like, I don't know if this is going to be good, but we're just going to try it. Created that. We started really honing it in on our team calls. When it was just me, Brianna, and Heather, sometimes it would just be 5 people on, and Joyce has been with us since the beginning too. And so it's like, it was just us, but we still showed up every Wednesday. How many of you guys would have quit after 5 calls with no one being on except for 5 people? We just kept going because we were like, hey, we'll train ourselves. We'll figure it out, right? So much of today is instant success. If you don't see 50 people on your wellness chat, you're not going to do it. If you don't see, 5 people messaging you back after the reach outs, you're quitting. You're not good enough. It's all these instant success, but you guys, it's not. Nothing. I don't care how fast paced our world gets, how much technology our world can, spin off. Success is not fast. And usually fast success is a slow decline, right? You have got to build your belief in yourself first, because if you don't have belief in yourself, how can you give belief to other people? How can you expect you to give, to pour from an empty cup? And so I'm not saying that you have to go on this belief journey and until in a year from now, then you can start, but you can build your belief along with helping other people build their belief. Do you think that I had all the belief back in 2016, 2017 to tell Brianna? Brianna and I basically did this whole thing, and then Heather came along, and we all just kind of grew up together, even though they are my level ones. Like we kind of just all figured this out together. Like we have really never had an upline, they've had me, but I've had to just really, we've all been bouncing ideas, and that's okay. Like it's okay to not know what you're doing, right? I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm still trying to navigate a diamond team. I'm still trying to navigate how we can be better and how we can have a better system. And that's okay, because we have to give ourselves grace, but we also have to understand that if we don't show up, what are you teaching your team to do? not show up. You're teaching them that it's okay to dip out when things get hard. And I'm not saying every day should not be a hard day, right? Because there is so much life to live. And I say, if every day is a hard day to you, then I want you to really sit back and look at your non-negotiables. What are you letting inside your day that is causing that to happen every day, right? Because for me, before Plexus, I used to totally be like, today was okay. Like I would be negative. I would just be grouchy. Just one little thing could like detour my whole day. But when I realized that one thing should not just shatter your whole day, but when you have that control to say, you know what, I'm going to set this over here for a second and I'm going to go work on me. I'm going to go pour into my team. I'm going to go do the thing that I know is going to get me to where I want to be. You're going to come out so much better on the other side, because I know life is hard. We're in the weirdest season after COVID, after the pandemic. We're all just trying to really figure out what the heck's going on. But guys, I want you to lean into what you have right now, because it is truly powerful what we have with network marketing. And if you want to make a change, you can. We have the tools, we have the resources, we have the systems, we have the graphics. You don't have to be a content creator. You don't have to be a doctor. We have everything inside our community. I will tell you this, and I'm going to pass it off, but I have a lot of sideline sisters that are diamonds, that are emeralds, that are sapphires. You guys, when they tell me that they don't have a system, when they tell me that they don't have resources for their teams, and they're like, you do? I'm like, we have so much inside this team, in this community. We give you the plan. We give you the training videos. We give you the team calls. We give you the onboarding system, but it cannot work if you don't work it. It cannot work if you don't believe in yourself and you believe in Plexus, right? It works if you work it. If you follow that perfectly, it will work every single time, but you have to work it. And I just want to tell you guys this, that if you have any doubt that you can be a diamond, if I can be a freaking diamond, anybody can be a diamond. Anybody can be a freaking diamond. I don't have my stuff together. I'm not perfect. Most of the time, my kids are running around screaming, chasing each other, biting each other, spitting at each other. And I'm doing a coaching call, or I'm listening to a podcast while I'm making dinner. You guys, it doesn't have to look pretty, and it doesn't have to. One of the biggest things is it doesn't always have to fit into a time slot, right? Like you can throw in a podcast while you're cooking dinner. You can sign someone up while you're wiping a butt. Like if we're always saying when the time is right, when the time is right, when the time is right, when I get here, when I get there, you're going to be wasting away years and years and years of time where you could just say, right now, I'm going to decide, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go all in. I'm going to rank. I've been sitting at senior gold. I've been sitting at gold. I've been sitting at ruby. I've been sitting at sapphire. I've been sitting at emerald. I'm going to make it happen. And I will tell you that it starts with you. It starts with your energy. It's not your team's fault. It's not your upline's fault. You have to take responsibility for your business. If you don't know something, YouTube it. Like this is the stuff that I literally had to do and I'm not talking about like back in the old days, but it's empowering to go figure it out, right? You don't have to have validation on every single thing. I want you guys to feel empowered in your business. Take your people that you know that are ready to work and gather them up, get on calls, like be inclusive, have community. But most importantly, if you do not have a vision for what you want for your life, I want you to take tomorrow and figure that out. Because it's really hard to know where you're going if you do not have a vision of what you want, right? And it cannot just be something as far as just simple. It's just simple as I just want to make extra money, right? There's got to be a need, you guys. There's got to be a need. There really has to be a need. And I know that Marissa Almond was saying she needed the car. And that's what really got her going for Emerald. I needed to stay home with West. And then you change it. And you change it in each season. And so I want you guys to understand that you can be a ruby, a senior ruby, an emerald, a sapphire, a diamond. It literally just takes consistency. Because what happens every time we start something, say a diet, right? We're like, oh, this is great. I lost 10 pounds. And then you get back off the diet. You gain 5 pounds back. And then you get back on the diet. You lose 2 pounds. And then you gain a little bit back. You can get back on it's like a yo-yo, right? And how do you think you cannot expect your business to be on the up when you're gone for a week, or when or only show up when you're having a good week. And I know that might step on some toes because it used to be me. I would dip out when I didn't have a good week, or when I didn't feel like it. I could literally go through my excuse book and be like, what excuse do I want to have to, okay, this one right here. This one, it's been a tough day, but it's like, it can either be a tough day or it can be a tough year, because you can be in the exact same spot you are right now next year. And we're supposed to be changing every single day. Change is inevitable, right? And I know that we don't want to be in the same spot that we are right now next year. We're supposed to be evolving every single day. And when it gets scary, when it gets, when you get tired, just rest. That's okay. Just rest, but don't dip out. Don't retract. Just learn to rest. Learn to have your days of when you're just like, I'm done. Like, I just need a minute. Have those things that you can do that I always say, like message 3 people, listen to a podcast. Those things are easy that you can just do on a crappy day, but that are going to still keep the ball rolling. You still brush your teeth when you don't feel good. You still, whatever, it's like we still do those bare minimum things. And so we have to remember those things on the hard days. So anyways, it is worth it, you guys. We have built our dream home that we are sitting in right now. And it's really not about the materialistic things for me, honestly. But this house has been a long time coming. We lived in a rental for 7 years just because we just didn't have the finances at the time to really make that dream home happen. And we had to get a lot of things straight. And so this house really just represents a lot of hard work on my end and my husband's end. And it's just been so nice to be able to bring our boys here, have this like space for them to play and just be and just build a home. And we love to travel, and for us to just travel, surprise Brooks for a weekend, this weekend in the mountains. And you guys, I could never make this happen without Plexus. There's no way I could pay for like a whole weekend in the mountains, and just on a whim, if I didn't have this job. And so it's just something that allows us freedom, allows us time together, allows us time together as a family, trips. And I don't know, it's just created so much in my life. And I'm not the same person that I was before I started. Not only the financial aspect of it, but the mindset of it. Like, I just can't even fathom where I would be without the mindset that Plexus has given me. And it's such a gift. So anyways, I want to pass it on to Brianna, and then Heather, Allie, you guys can go after them. Okay.
Okay, so she told us what we were doing tonight, and I have like pondered on this like the whole day since this morning. And I kept going back to where I was when I started, like as the full-time teacher with 2 toddlers running around and not having Darren home all the time. And it was just, I was just exhausted. Like, a teacher life is pretty like hardcore throughout the day. All the decisions you're making, like all the things inside of a classroom, and to come home and to mom and then have to work a business. Some days was just not what I wanted to do. Okay. It was not. And so I didn't. And it was because I did not know all about what I know now. I didn't know about the consistency. I didn't know about time blocking. I didn't know how to build solid habits and to be disciplined in my day. And I would get home from work and literally walk around the house for like 40 minutes, like, what do I need to do? And it was like all these things. Well, I could do laundry, I could start dinner, I could do my business, I could clean, I could sit down for a minute, like all these things. And it was just, decision fatigue not only happens inside the classroom, but it's in your day as well. So it's like, if you're trying to decide, what workout am I going to do? What workout clothes am I going to wear? Am I going to work out today? When am I going to work out today? What shoes am I going to wear? Am I going to cook dinner? What am I going to cook for dinner? And it's just, if you're not deciding beforehand, you're just like like exhausted because your mind is constantly at battle because you can't make up your mind. There's no decisions made. And so that was something I really had to learn. And I really struggled with mindset, and more so just because we did not have very good communication in our family and our marriage. And it was not anybody's fault. It was just something that we had not learned. And so when I learned how to sit down and say, hey, I need to do XYZ, and this is why I'm doing it, it changed a lot. But there was a lot of arguments that happened and kids that were always crying or screaming and mom's mad at bedtime or whatever it was, life just in general. And I had to learn how to really get a hold of our days and be in control of my time, of what was happening, when it was happening, and make those decisions before anything even happened, because it was just constant at battle with the kids, with Darren, with everything. And so it was so important for me to get my mind right and learn how to take control of like everything inside of our life. So if you don't have a supportive spouse, or you don't have help with your kids, you're going to have to learn how to put your big girl panties on and figure it out on your own. And that's when your why comes in, to say, like, I'm doing this for whatever reason. And if you can't figure out your why, then you need to think of your what ifs. What if my husband lost his job today? What if my car completely broke down? What if whatever? Think of a circumstance that could happen to you, and I'm telling you, you'll find a why real quick. I didn't have a savings account. We had no extra money. When things happened, it totally wrecked our finances. And when I started seeing money come in, I knew that I had to do what I needed to do to figure this out. I never saw myself as an emerald. I never saw myself as a sapphire. It's hard to picture myself as a diamond still to this day, but it's those thoughts that I have to control to really to get myself there. And so when you're having that doubt, you have to muster up that belief, and you've got to be able to use those thoughts. And why do I feel that way? Like, what is happening? What's happening with my mindset? What's happening with whatever? And figure that out, because that's what really has helped me so much. I can tell you too, you can listen to all the personal growth, you can do all the books, but if you're not working on yourself and you're not changing your mindset, it's not doing diddly. Like, you can listen, you can read, but if you're not putting that into any type of action to change your mindset, to change your thoughts, it's not going to work. So you're just wasting time and money, so to say. So really work on your mindset, work on taking control of like your day, and be in charge. Like, take like just take hold honestly of everything that you feel is out of whack, whether it's your finances, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your kids, your business, whatever feels out of whack right now, that's what you need to go, like, take whatever action to fix it. And don't put it off, because we know that's not going to be any type of like benefit. The more that you benefit, the more stress and worry that it causes. And so when you can just take a baby step towards fixing whatever seems wrong and work on it day by day at baby steps, you'll start to see that your self confidence builds, that your mindset is changing, and that you're able to move forward in whatever aspect of your life that needs that help. So that was really an obstacle that I had to overcome, was just life in general. Like, I was just a negative person. Life happened to me. I didn't have control of our finances. I didn't have control of my day. I didn't have control of my kids, like our schedules, nothing. And so it was just one thing at a time that we had to work on. And I'm, of course, still working on it. But I find myself being way more intentional now. And when I'm doing something, I'm present with that at the moment before I move on to something else. And it takes a lot of effort, but it can be done. So that's all I have.
Love those. I remember when Brianna first started, we've been friends since 4th grade. And I remember her Facebook post and I was like, oh no, not that girl. Like she knows because she would literally post the most negative statuses. And I'm like, oh, no, but she's a completely different person now. Like I was the same way. I just never like expressed, it's like you just have this mindset that when you are out of it, you look back in and you're like, oh my gosh, like how did I used to be that person, So crazy. All right, Allie, do you want to go next? Or Heather, whichever. Roll the dice, girls.
Rock, paper, scissors.
I can go ahead and go, Allie.
Fine.
Okay. So for me, I mean, some of mine's going to be similar to Andrea and Brianna, but then there's going to be a lot that's different. So for me, as you guys know, like I wanted nothing to do with the products. I definitely wanted nothing to do with the business. I have just always loved fitness, and I started to really get into health after college because I played college volleyball. Volleyball was over. I'm like, okay, what can I do to like continue to stay active, like continue to be healthy? And when I ran a half marathon after my first one, like, okay, so you know how you usually eat in college. I was a college athlete, but I still ate like crap. I still ate McDonald's all the time, still did all those things. So when I did my half marathon, I was still eating that same way. And I felt terrible when I ran my, my half marathon. So after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to completely change my diet. I'm going to eat clean. I am going to really like get focused and determined on training, like do all of those things. And that's when I really started to just become really involved with like what I was putting in my body, outside my body, and all of that. Did all kinds of different diets, as far as like counting macros, just like eating super, super strict, some a little bit lower like carb, calorie type things, whatever. But I loved health, and I loved like being positive and just always learning new things. And I'm sure that's probably a little bit of what attracted Andrea to me, is that I was always posting like maybe like my meals or just like some positive things, like, drinking your water, just all of that. And I did not think that I needed supplements. I had honestly been approached by several people in different companies. Avocare was something that was huge then. And I just felt like people were always like, hey, you should do this. You should do this. Wanted nothing to do with the business. I was like, I will never promote supplements, products. I didn't even think that I would take them myself. And Andrea, you guys probably know that we made 13 point of contacts with each other in almost 2 years of her trying to get me to take the products. And I wanted nothing to do with them. Like I said, I thought that they were kind of silly, but I did want to be my healthiest. So I looked into it, did all those things. Like I said, wanted nothing to do with the business, said I wouldn't post, but Andrea was pretty good at being like, you should just post, like making it like no big deal. And I'm like, all right, fine. Like, so far what I'm like learning about gut health and the products, like I'm sure that there's somebody out there that could benefit. And that's the thought I had, because I'm like, I'm not going to benefit from them. Like, why do I even need to take these products? Like, I'm not experiencing anything. So that's when I kind of started sharing. And the point of what I wanted to get to, as far as Andrea had mentioned about your story, you don't have to have like some extravagant story to be successful. I hit Emerald and I really don't have a story. I mean, other than I love the products. I love what they stand for. I love the ingredients. Like I love just everything that they have done for like my friends and family. I take them just because I do want to improve my gut health. Like I haven't seen any crazy changes because I wasn't really struggling with anything that I needed help with. And that's just like one of my favorite things, is that you don't have to have a certain story. You don't have to have lost like so much weight, like see all these changes. All you really have to do is just have belief in what you're selling. And I'm going to say selling because we are selling something. Like we are selling these products that we believe in and we know could work. And I feel like that is just like the true thing to being successful is just believing in the products and what you have to offer. And if you sound confident, like people are going to believe that. People won't, I mean, I don't post my journey all the time because I don't really like have anything crazy, but I love showing that health is important. What you put in your body is important, finding that specific thing. And I just feel like too, like in the beginning when I was starting to share, every step of the way was like the same thing. Andrea would be like, okay, like, what do you want to get to next? Like, what goal do you want to hit next? And I'm like, oh, I'm fine where I am. Like I didn't see any future with it at all, but she just kept encouraging me to share, like, you could change someone else's life. Like, let's do this. Let's do that. And honestly, like Andrea mentioned, I think Andrea, you were the one that said this, like everything that so it's been 5 years for me. Like everything that I did then that Andrea was having me do is what like we teach you guys to do now. It really is. I added Andrea in every single three-way message for the longest time. She sent voice messages. I didn't in the beginning, but I would listen to her voice messages over and over and just take notes. And then I would like, I would try to send them, and voice messages were a little different then anyway. I was like redoing them all the time. But I felt like that was like the easiest thing for me is just to listen to her, just learn. And I just was always learning something new. And that's where I feel like a lot of us like kind of we'll say struggle, but we're like, we want to know everything. Like what's in this? What's in that? Like, but I didn't really do that because I trusted Andrea and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna learn as I go. But one thing that outside of like having that belief is just you have to just I don't know. I won't say that I had like a lot of motivation. We won't say that, but I've always been like disciplined. Just I don't know if like sports with being so like involved in sports, if that's what it was, but I just feel like because let's be real, we don't always feel motivated. We don't always feel motivated to work out or what eat healthy, whatever that may be. We don't always feel motivated to do our work, but I just feel like I was always disciplined. Like I always wanted to have success. And I'm like, okay, what do I need to do to continue to do this? And I think that I don't even know, Andrea, what I got to. I was probably Ruby, maybe, or senior, probably senior Ruby, when I was like, you know what? Like, I could really do this. Like, I want to be Emerald. I want to go further. I want to stay home with my babies because I did not want to stay home with my kids when I first started like doing this. Even though I had Odie, like he was 6 months when I first started, and I didn't want to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. I loved my job. I loved being a dental hygienist. I was helping people, which is what I'm doing now, but just different aspects. I loved that communication, like talking with people, like talking about how they could improve like their gums or their teeth or prevent cavities. Like those are all things that I loved, and that's what I'm doing, but just with something different, and something that I've always said I'm not good at. Because how many times do we have somebody that comes in and we want them to share and they're like, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not good at sales. And some of you have probably heard me say this before, but I do use an electric toothbrush. Love an electric toothbrush. Always tell people to get one. My kids have one, and we sold them at the office that I worked at. We always have, but I never tried to sell them. I would always recommend them, but that's it. I would just say, like, you could really benefit from an electric toothbrush. This is why. Like, I never tried to get them to buy the electric toothbrush that we sold there. I don't know why. I never did because I'm not a salesperson. But I mean, even though it was something I believed in, but I'm like, it is what it is. Like, no big deal. But I just feel like health and seeing someone's like whole body like change, and not just that, like now that, and yes, you are a leader. If you have one person under you, you are a leader. But it's not just about the products for me anymore. It's like seeing someone who struggles with their mindset, with their like their self-esteem, whatever that may be. Like for me now, it's about that as well. Like seeing someone like do something for themselves, like a mom, like taking time like for self-care, like, just taking the products in general for to have a little bit more energy. Like those kinds of things are what has like really motivated me now that I'm further into my journey, is seeing just so many different changes in people and their demeanor and all of that, like not just about the health. And then to something that I've always struggled with, one more thing, is like the money aspect of it. I have always struggled with money mindset and wanting to talk about money. Like I never wanted to offer the opportunity on social media, like for everyone to see, because I didn't want to make someone else like feel that I was like bragging that I was making money, until Andrea was like, why? Like everyone makes money. Like this is, like it's allowing you to stay home and like care for your babies and be there for them. And I'm like, that's so true. Like this is my life. Like I'm proud of like what I'm doing and accomplishing and helping others with. And I just know that everyone makes money. Like you can do it in a way to where you're not bragging, but you're offering someone like hope or a chance or an opportunity. And if you do it, like I said, in that way that you believe in it and you have that confidence and things like that, and it's just the way that you kind of present it, then it changes a lot. So, and along the way too, I know Allie's probably going to touch on this, but knowing that it's not always up. I hit emerald, I dropped down, I went back up, I dropped back down. I felt like it was like a teeter, like back and forth. Like every couple months it was like, okay, I hit it, now I didn't. I've had a lot of people leave. I've had silvers leave, golds, 2 rubies, like, but I kept going. And that is like the main thing, is that you just keep going, you keep showing up, and you keep knowing that you're going to grow no matter what season that you're in, and sticking through it through the hard times. Because I know that there's been seasons where I didn't work my business as much as others, one being after I had Jovi, and I'm like, I will never do that again. And I didn't allow myself to do that with Marin. And it's just crazy the difference that it's been after having her versus Jovi, with just continuing to be consistent. Maybe the work wasn't quite as much, but I never fully like dipped out. And I feel like that made such a huge difference. But that's pretty much it.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna let Allie hop on, but I do want to say, like Heather saying that, like, she could recognize, okay, yeah, when I was like, okay, what do you feel like is different, that you did last time? She's like, I definitely wasn't as present. But guess what, you guys, she didn't quit when she was like, I just wasn't present, whatever. But she's able to look back on that and say, with this baby, I'm not going to be like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, as you continue just to push through the hard times of your journey, you're going to be so much, we go through the hard times so we can train someone else when they're going through a hard time. Do you know, like every hard season is there truly for a reason? Because when I go through a hard season and Heather says, okay, how can I get through this? I'm like, I've been there before. Or Sabrina says, how can I do this? I've been there before. Or Sabrina has someone, she's like, listen, girl, this is how I felt when I started. We go through these things for a flipping reason, so we can turn around and empower someone else to let them know, like, guess what? You're going to be fine. Your feelings are valid, but I'm going to help you get through this, and we're going to do it scared, right? Like, you're going to come out on the other side and it's going to be fine, but it's okay to be scared right now. But as long as you don't quit, you're going to come out and it's going to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just love that, because everyone has these trials and everything that you go through. And our journeys have not been easy, and definitely not a cakewalk. And we've had life happen, family members getting sick, miscarriages, all the things. I mean, we've been through it all. But one thing that has stayed the same is the community and the like sisterhood that we have in this community. And I truly is something that you don't have, and I feel like in most workplaces. So, all right, Allie, go ahead, babe.
Thanks, girls. Love it. So it's funny, Andrea, in true Andrea fashion, like 4 hours ago, was like, hey girls, can you hop on the team call? That's what we're gonna do. We're like, okay, let's all go. So the first thing that popped into my head, I was like, I think I'll just talk about when I felt like I finally like caught sight of what Plexus could do and what it could be, because I was not here for a business. I was a nurse. I finished my NP, prepared for my baby. I actually expedited my NP clinicals and career, like schooling, worked double to get all that done, just like have all the T's crossed and the I's dotted before my baby boy came. And then guess what? I held that baby boy and I was like, I don't want to fucking leave. Like, this is awful. I don't want to go work, right? I just went to school for 9 years and I want to hold my baby boy. Like, I literally remember it, and I probably might, hopefully not tear up. Anyways, but it's just crazy. The day you become a mom, you're like, okay, like, there's more to life than work and money, or like, doing like the thing that you think you're going to do. So I was just actually looking in back office. If you guys saw me like kind of looking to the side, I was actually looking at my other computer at like some point calculations to actually write down where I was at that time. Because I literally remember sitting in my nursing chair in my nursery and was like, the maternity leave countdown, right? 12 weeks. And it was insert COVID, March. He was 3 months old and I was getting ready to go back to work. And my points in March were at 85. Okay. And that was March of 2020. And I hit Emerald 14 months from then. So 85 to 1500. Actually, we didn't just hit Emerald. We got from 85 to 1720 in 14 months. So that being said, it was not, smooth sailing, butterflies and roses. But I remember, and you guys know I'm always good for like an acronym. So I just wrote down a couple words that popped into my head as I was talking to her, as I was thinking about what I might talk about right now. And the first S word is sight. So it's like the vision, the why. And there's still times where I'm like, man, I think I need to like deepen my vision. I think I need to like think about it more. And I'm not the best person to reflect. Like sometimes I just like to go and keep the wheels rolling and what's ahead. And like you have to reflect on where you're coming from to like know where the heck you're going. And that literally is something I've been striving to do like better monthly. Like, how can we know how to improve if we never reflect on like what we did good, what we need to do better, where we feel like we're strong, where we are slacking? And so like losing sight, or I guess gaining sight, don't lose sight of where you're going. So you had to have a why and something you're doing, but don't appreciate where you are now, because you're going to look back and where you are now is like where you prayed for like all that time. So even though right now, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough or I'm not a good leader, even at Emerald or climbing back to Emerald, it's amazing. Like I already, like just to say, like you might be feeling stuck. You might be feeling like you're never going to get to the next rank. You've been trying to get there forever, or you spent all this time with your first leader and then she quits. So what really stood out to me, and, I think what I like to like train new girls on is you're going to feel like you're going to run out of people, and you're going to have friends and family that don't support you. And that's going to be your first like hard step between silver and gold. And then after gold, you really got to take a step away from the family, because sometimes it's hard. But I actually had one of my best friends with me, which she didn't start right away, but she helped me grow from gold to senior gold. That was like a 3-month time span for me. This was right when I was getting back into motion after Ashton. And I went back to work. So I hit senior gold and I had 2 girls go gold. And that helped me get to that rank. And neither of those girls stuck with me. And one of them was my best friend. And for the longest time, she wouldn't take the products. And when she took the products, she recruited 20 people in like a month and a half, 2 months. It was so fun. It was so exciting. And then poof, she disappeared. She didn't want to do anything. She doesn't even take the products very consistently anymore. And that was terrifying, because I was, all the feels. I was disappointed. I was betrayed. How can you not trust me? There was distance between our relationships. Like she came in like a rocket ship, and it wasn't even like I had to do anything. It was fun. Right. And so that's the excitement and the gratification and the quick and the, yays of the business. But then you feel those like, ugh. And I could have easily like not put my face back out there. I could have, let that really like knock me down. And so if you guys are maybe listening to this and, my sister-in-law won't talk to me about Plexus. My mother-in-law gave me back collagen that I had given her for Mother's Day one time. She just wouldn't need it. She doesn't need supplements. So it's like the closest people to you might not support you or might not be with you on this journey. And it does not mean anything about you or what you're doing. And there's been so many times when the brain likes to say that those people matter, and they do, but not when it comes to something like this. So, putting that fool out there, not that it doesn't, hurt me sometimes, but the growth that we've all talked about, it comes as you grow. And if you stop when someone or a friend or someone makes fun of your post or someone says it's a pyramid scheme, like those are things that build a backbone in this business. And like, I feel like, those are normal, but not to scare you guys, but to know that like, that's part of it. So anyways, I had 2 girls go gold. They didn't stick with me, but we kept moving. And so one thing to remember is like, I feel like I've been told numerous times throughout the ranks, like some of the people that get you to one rank might not be with you at the next, but that's not to be fearful and to live in, fear and scarcity with where you're going and putting time with people that are with you. Like, I feel like some people come into our businesses for a season and some people, just for and some people stick for a reason. So, I have Sam on here. She's been with me from the beginning, and there's been lots of people. I've lost some rubies, just like the other girls have said, that's 500 points. They decide to stop. You maintain as much as you can, and then those points fall off, but it doesn't mean that I stop. So the second word that came to mind after sight was stickability. So that's a Christina Williams word. And I met her and I can't wait to be on stage with her, convention or one day at Diamond Destination. But stickability, you have to have it because it's going to be freaking hard. It's going to be hard. It's going to be in the trenches and it's going to be the climb, like more than you think of the shiny rooftop, the, bonus, the car, the trip. It's hard, but it's normal. It's normal. So, if the best friend doesn't support you, it's nothing about you. So you gotta have stickability is what I learned, and don't compare. That's one of the things that I did a lot of. I remember going for Emerald. So we went from Senior Ruby to Emerald, and that was an 8-month climb. And in that time, I went back to work. I took my first NP job. It was a pandemic. And that was really freaking hard to have a whole role transition, but also grow double in my business and be at the highest point in my business, point wise and growth wise. But the third thing that I remembered and I wrote down is my systems sucked. Okay. Didn't have them. And that's why I maintained Emerald for 4 months and then fell back because my leaders they didn't know what they were doing. And we didn't have the systems to sustain it. So, I think that, like Andrea said, we've perfected a lot, we've collaborated a lot, we've learned a lot, and we've the similar things that have stayed the same are the 3-way chats and the community. And, we're not going anywhere. We don't give up on hard days. Like, don't give up on a hard day. Give up on a good day because that's when, this is fun, but we just have to remember to keep the perspective that it's not always fun. It's not always rainbows. It's not always growth, like point wise. Sometimes we got to figure out where to grow when we're in a pit. And so I think that, systems work. We have amazing systems. Like Andrea said, I just did that medical professional event with some other Emeralds. They literally like just collaborating with them, learning from them, seeing their posts, but then I go to talk to them and they don't have amazing things in place, not to compare, but to say like, we have what it is in this community. It's truly one of a kind. And what might work for you, you might take something that you learn from me and tweak it and, amplify it for your team. There's not one way to do it. And you just have to remember that, you're never on your own, but find a system that works for you. But a system means you do it and you do it well and you do it consistently. And then I would say the last thing would be, what was I going to say? Oh, my other S. I don't know if you girls remember. So when I went senior gold, when I was sitting at home on maternity leave, I had an acronym that the S was send the damn message. It's still the thing you got to do, because if you don't do anything in your business and you feel frozen, just start sending messages and don't overthink it. You have to send messages in this business. If you stop sending messages, you stop growing and you stop connecting with people. So I feel like that's often when, if you feel like you're not recruiting or you feel like kind of like at a standstill, the first step to keep the wheels rolling, you send the damn message. Like I have amped my messages up so much because I felt like I was surface level with them. And sometimes, you go through seasons when you're just helping all the other people and you're doing the manager tasks and like the bigger, as you go, your tasks change and the focus on certain things, but send the damn message. That was my takeaway.
I loved it. Yeah, you guys go to my name on YouTube and you'll see Allie's video. We haven't transferred everything over to our team one, but it is literally like Allie Dorman Gold. It's really funny, but it's a good one. But anyways, did you guys like this? I thought it would just be so nice just to hear our stories, hear where we came from, hear where we are. And guess what? We're still going through the trenches and the valleys and the mountaintops and all that. Like it does not stop when you get to Diamond. It is so funny. When I was, I don't even know, senior Ruby, I'm like, wow, I like wonder what it's like to be a Diamond. Like I bet like they don't have any problems. I bet they just chill. Like their team just does the things. Like they've got it all figured out. Well, I'm here to tell you that I still don't know what I'm doing to a point, right? I'm still learning how to build my business. It's forever. You're forever as long as you want to be successful and have a team where you're not just stereotypical at the top, just doing nothing, because you never want to stop doing. You never want to stop working. I say working, but you always want to be doing and practicing what you preach with your team, because that's how there's no way we're going to be able to continue to give more people the opportunity for freedom is if we stay small, right? This really isn't about us as much as it is about the people that are in your life that truly need this opportunity, that need these products. And we focus way too much on what we feel like people are going to say about us. And in reality, there are so many people that are on your social media that are friends with you at the gym, that are friends at work, that really need this. And I will tell you that the people in your life who do not believe that this is real, that do not believe that you can do this, you have to make a decision whether you're going to let that voice be the loudest voice you hear, or if you're going to let your voice and what's between you and the man upstairs, if you're going to let that be the loudest voice, right? Because you know what you're capable of. Don't let someone else determine what you're capable of. Don't give that satisfactory. It doesn't matter if it's your husband or your mom or your Aunt Susie. Like, guys, if you want this, like Brianna said, like that has to be your why. Like you have to outprove those people. And I'm saying that in like the best way possible, because sometimes we get so sucked into what other people think about us that we lose our way, we lose ourselves, we lose the strengths that we have because we become so small to other people's opinions. And guys, we are our own people and we are created. Truly, God made each and one of us the way we are supposed to be made. Everything that has gotten you to this point, every weird tick about you, the way you look, the family dynamic, everything that you have been given in life is on purpose. And because he has created you to be this person so you can shine your light to someone else. And this is such a great opportunity to really allow yourself to do that in a way where you can be also surrounded by amazing women who will always be there for you and who will always pour into you. And I think that's just something that is really, really valuable in this industry, is especially with Plexus, is that we have such a tight-knit community and I really love it. And I just truly cannot imagine not having you guys on Monday nights, just seeing you guys at events and Mondays and just all of this. Like it is a huge part of my life. Like Heather said, like it can truly change your life if you let it, if you just let your guard down. When you decide to be authentically you, and it takes practice, I'm still working on it, that is when you unlock the ultimate freedom. That is when success flows. And you guys also have to understand as well, you have to take care of yourself. because the better you feel, the more money you're going to make, the more good things that you're going to do. And you have to take care of yourself. So go to bed earlier, eat better, take your supplements consistently, drink your water, hang out with your husband, hang out with your friends, get off your phone, do these things, because when you feel good, you're going to do better. It's going to be automatic. But when we're running on empty and we're staying up late, we're trading, a book at night for our phone, or we're just binging TV, or we're going and, clear your social media out. If you're comparing other people and when you look at someone's account and they make you feel bad, delete it. Keep your safe space, keep your circles small, tight knit, really protect what goes in between your ears. Don't just let anybody come in and talk to you about things, right? You have to have like a sifter, right? Like a little colander in between your ears. You got to sift the good stuff and sift the bad stuff out, right? And so I just want you guys to really, truly just remember our stories. We're not the same. We're so different. We all have different dynamics, but we all made this work. And through all of our stories, all the people that have quit, all the points that have been lost, all the hard times, all the things, we have stayed, right? And that is the one thing that has been the deciding factor. That's why we are at the top of the company. That's why we are emeralds and sapphires and diamonds, is because it's not because we're special. It's just because we've stuck it out. And we've just decided, like, this is what we're going to do. Like, we want to do this. We see the freedom. We are the freedom. We have the freedom, and we want to continue, and we want to now turn that over and create more freedom for you guys. And so we love you guys and we believe in you. And I'm just ready to rock and roll and use all these codes up, y'all. So don't forget about your codes. Okay. Love you, my little Valentines. I hope you guys have the best days tomorrow. Lots of love. Bye, guys. That was good.